take it to the road. Yo, shout out to the Street Wolves. What's poppin', everybody? It's the JLEGEND EFFECT. I know you miss me. I know you miss me. It's been a little while. This episode is right before New Year's. Just a few days before New Year's, but you'll see it a few days afterwards. So take it easy. For some of y'all, make sure you comment, subscribe, and all that. Today we have a very, very, very beautiful guest. No?
If you say so, yeah.
Miss N.Polanco, the author, N.Polanco. So we're gonna get into her book. We're gonna talk a little bit about her inspirations. But before we get to that, I just want to give a huge shout out to the stupid. She had a light mustache, broad.
I'm done.
On the D train today. It's D train, yeah. But
Fitting.
yeah, very fitting. So you follow me on social media at JLegend100 or JLegend Effect on Facebook. You see, I posted it earlier. I was on the train, and it was a chick. She came on there, and she had these crutches. Now, this is the first time I've seen. You ever seen these crutches? They look like, I guess the part that goes here looks almost like bull horns. They like the funny shaped crutch. It's not like the regular.
What? It was like sharp. She had like a Maleficent look going there.
Yeah, something like that. I guess they
fuck you up on the subway.
I guess they're shaped a certain way so that your shoulder sits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Look almost like a horn kind of. I don't know. I don't know, man. Google it.
She's a rich bitch.
Possibly. So, she comes on and I'm sitting there, I'm listening to my music. By the way, go check out Third Siders on thatpiff.com. So I was listening to the new Sauce project, and I'm just being nice, I looked up. I'm listening to the track John Wick, so go listen to that track. It's based sort of off the movie and sort of off of something that happened, but whatever, allegedly. So, allegedly. So, if you listen to that song, you'll understand the mood I was in. And that wasn't a nice mood. I wasn't trying to be polite at the moment. But I seen her and I seen her situation. So I said, cool, I get up. I let her get my seat. Now, at no point, mind you, I'm sitting there, I paused my song because I want to stay in my zone. And I moved the earphones and I asked her, I said, you want to sit here? So I got up. She just sits down. And just hit me with the spread too. So I can't even go sit in the one in the middle. She hit me with the spread.
Oh man.
So I'm just looking at her, and the first thing I noticed is that she had a mustache. Now I don't got much of a mustache, so now I'm telling you,
she had more than you.
She had more than me. She was young, Caucasian woman.
Oh damn, that's even worse because they don't be getting hairy like that. She must have really been like.
It was
that shit grow out.
she ain't had no big ass block on her face. No, she ain't had that, but it was noticeable.
Little peach fuzz.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yes, she did. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, next thing I noticed that she never said thank you. So I'm just sitting here like, hold on a second, so I get up and I'm giving you my seat. I had to give you I could let you go across here and try to find somebody who's gonna be nice enough to get up, or you would have to squeeze in between people.
Yeah.
Because there was a seat in between me and somebody else, but I'm kind of big in here. She was kind of big in here. So even though, let's be real, man, especially Caucasian women, they will find a way to squeeze their ass in between some two big people for a seat.
Especially on an airplane.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. But I'm like, okay, she needs more space, the crutches and all that. And she looked up at me because clearly she's noticing that I'm staring at the mustache. So she just looked up at me a few times and just turned her face. Now I'm just realizing, besides this mustache, the other thing that's wrong here is that she didn't even think to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, you're not gonna appreciate the fact that I ain't have to get up and just give you the seat and that's it.
That's fucked up.
So I sat here, 2 stops go by, and I'm like, y'all still didn't get a thank you. And yes, I'm dwelling on the fucking thank you. Yes, because that's where we at now. I'm telling you, I
Yeah,
hold
but you
doors for
could
people.
have, like, you know, said something like, you know how sometimes, like, when people hold it, I had this one guy held the door open for me at a 7-Eleven, and, like, I'm kind of quiet sometimes, so I just said thank you. I guess he didn't hear me. He's like, gosh, you're welcome, bitch. I was like, whoa, hold on. I said thank you. Maybe you had something in your ears, but I said thank you. He was like, all right, fine then, I didn't hear you. And he kept walking. I was like, fuck. But you could have said something. You could have been like, all right, thank you.
Well, why is the burden on me to say something?
Oh, it's not.
Exactly. So it's like, why should I say something to her? Because the things that I was gonna say to her would have been more along them lines. Like, yo, bitch, what the fuck? First off, let me bring you to my barber. Get this shit lined up you got going on over here.
Maybe she was trying to braid it.
Viking bitch. Yeah, man. So, you know, I posted it real quick. Like, yo, man, like I should just take her crutches and run. I should just grab her crutches and go running straight out the train. Like, she's not catching me. She is not catching me. And then, like, nobody at the time nobody was standing at the door.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who were coming in the train, like, if I'm going towards them, I'm not a little guy. I would have max truck right through them. They not stopping that. And I'm out with some crutches. So now let me see you chase me. And since you had a burden on my day, maybe I should burden your fucking day.
Listen, God don't like ugly, okay?
So why is she here?
She'll get hers. She got to walk around with a mustache. Do you know that's punishment enough?
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now. You're making this easier on me.
Oh, yeah?
I'm feeling a lot better now.
I'm glad.
feeling a lot better now.
Just, you know, trying to drink more. You'll feel better.
Yeah, that works. Now, I'm not a wine drinker, but because I'm having Natalie here. First off, I drank some wine with you at Unfiltered Radio. Make sure y'all check out Unfiltered Radio with Eric G every Wednesday on beatboxradio.com. It's live, 6 to 7. Yes, that's my dog. He's a comedian. For those of you who haven't heard of him, check him out. He got other stand-up shows he does. But every Wednesday, you check us out. We're live on the air. And then a few days later, they posted on Mixcloud. I'll throw some links in the description so you guys can go check that out. But that's how I met her. And I had some wine. And we had a debate first. You know what I'm saying? Because I personally feel like grown men shouldn't be drinking wine in a sports bar, especially on a Sunday. Especially on a Sunday. We watching football out here. Why are you sitting here drinking wine? So that was the debate that she and I had, and I had some wine with her and Eric and everybody else that day. We had a great episode. I'm gonna find that episode and put it in the description too, so y'all can check that out.
It's gotta be red wine though.
It has to be red wine.
If it's white wine, you a bitch. Sorry.
For me,
red is classy.
Listen, there's none of that on a Sunday watching football.
All right, excuse me, I forgot the sanctity of.
Yes, you can't
the
do
NFL.
that. Yeah, keep that shit on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? You can do that shit. You know what? I would maybe give it a pass on a Monday, even though I'm not cool with that either. Monday night football. Tuesday through Saturday.
There you go.
You can do that. So, as I already mentioned, she's an author. And the name of the book is?
Last Night. Last night.
Now, I read the book.
Oh, man.
No, you good. Now, I'll be honest. I don't read many books of that nature because I do get bored. Also is, I hate when I feel like someone is trying to like force a story on you. I don't know if that's like the right way to
it doesn't feel natural,
Yeah, it doesn't. And so, you know, I'm very selective on when I do read books. I do read like magazines and all that shit, but I don't. It's rare. Someone suggests a book, I'll check it out. Right, depending on the source.
So you read the description, and then that's.
No, really.
You read the book.
You know, listen. Somebody has to tell me, yo, man, I read this, and and it depends who says it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I trust their opinion, I'll be like, yo, all right, we're gonna check it out. So the day I met her, I said I was gonna check the book out. Just, yeah, I was just being supportive. You know what I'm saying? I was interested in hearing this when she said it was a short story and a few other things. I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna check this out and see what's up. Now, I was supposed to do it that night, and I didn't. I'll be honest. It took me like a week. But I did it. I purchased the book, which you can purchase on Amazon. I'm gonna put the link in the description. And I
pay my bills, guys, please.
Now I was happy reading the book. I was happy because I have a bad habit of telling people the truth when they ask me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard for me to, sometimes you gotta lie to be nice.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with that.
I remember you said like, "Oh, I want to read your book." I was like, I don't know. I mean, you're a little worried about drinking wine on a Sunday. I don't know how you're gonna do the romance.
Yeah, but I for me, I felt it was a little bit more than that. I honestly do,
Thank you.
and I'm not just saying that. It's the truth. I felt it was a little more than just a romance. It had some suspense in there. I honestly and truly thought that there was a bunch of stuff there that was creative that I wasn't expecting.
Okay,
And I think that's why I continue to read it. Even though it's a short story, it's like 37 pages.
Not even. I think it's like 26 or something like that.
Yeah, like 26
pages.
yeah.
26 pages.
Alright, so that's not a whole lot when you think about it, but like it wasn't one of those things like, alright, I read it, it's a little bit here, I'll read a little bit here, if she mentioned it, I'll read something else. No, I read it straight through. I was just like, wow, I wanted to see the little turn that was coming next. And honestly, I did. I honestly and truly enjoyed it. I thought it was creative. But let's start off with, what was the inspiration for the book? Was any of that from a personal standpoint, or was that strictly creative?
Well, I mean, as a writer, I think, or as a creator of anything, everything that you make comes from something, either something that you lived or something that you saw or something that's around you. But, the inspiration for last night really came from two places. It was, my literal obsession, with the story Breakfast at Tiffanys and the movie that was based on that story.
Which is mentioned in the book.
Which is mentioned in the book, yeah. Really just kind of, I wanted to make an ode or like a love poem to all things femme, to, the women of today and the kind of complicated, beautiful mess, that some of us are, and that was really how I saw myself. Yeah,
most.
Yes, most.
Most.
That was most. There was that was always how I saw myself, and it was almost like, I wish other people had seen that as well, and that was how I saw other women, powerful women that almost got like slept on, So the story last night is really, I love how you say it's not really just a romance, because that wasn't the point. It wasn't supposed to be a story about boy meets girl and they all lived happily ever after. It was really all centered around the main character, Holly. It's all about her, and his like, just, he meets her at a bar and he becomes immediately like enchanted by her, and all the little complicated things that, go into knowing her and the adventure that she basically drags him on.
No, and that it is. It's a definitely an adventure from the beginning to the end. And I guarantee you there's a few things you don't see coming. From the very beginning, it starts off, the setting was in a bar. And, from the moment, I felt like there was parts of the book. I think what made me like it so much, because you also had told me that I believe this was the one that you wrote for also to be a short film.
Yeah, I'm actually adapting it into a screenplay right now. Okay. Looking for actors, by the way.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. If you want, we can put your email in the description. We can do that.
Sure.
But that's how it read to me. Like in my mind, as I was reading it, it read like a film to me. Like I was seeing some of it in my head. That's awesome. And I was like, all right, this is cool. And again, this is what made me be like, nah, I'm on this. I'm going to continue to read it. So in my mind, I was picturing, I think that everybody, male or female, you come across that one person, maybe more than one, but we'll say one person in your life that you meet in a social setting, and this person just the lights just shine on them, whether
Yeah,
they
yeah.
want it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes that's an attractive thing. Like you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself being attracted to someone you don't even know like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you're intrigued. That's the
Mm-hmm.
word. You're intrigued by someone you don't even know like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
So from that opening standpoint, where they're at the bar and he's clearly intrigued by her, she's pretty much the life of the party,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems effortless.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a real life situation that you found a way to weave it into the book, or
I
is
mean,
that
it's definitely how, like I said, it's definitely how, I carry myself, and how a lot of great women carry themselves is knowing when they walk into a room that they bring the light with them, I think one of the biggest insults somebody ever said, and it was completely baseless, and said that, when you walk in, the plants die. I was like, well, that's a lie, yeah, that was
That's
like,
funny.
yo,
It's fucked up. But
it's fucked
funny.
up, but
No,
it's funny, and
fucked
it's
up,
so
I want to
true.
say it to you, but when you think of the statement, not take away that you say that to you, that shit is funny. Like for you to sit there, that's very insulting to tell somebody.
Word.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny to me, man. It ain't funny he said it to you, but the statement is funny. It's funny. Yeah, because we're talking about the book or people like that, and it's like these people, they draw all the attention to them. So if you don't walk in the room and the fucking plants die,
I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so that I don't know if it's really been a real life situation. I mean, I've met people in bars before, but it's definitely the mentality that when I walk into a room, that's how I view myself, and how I would hope really somebody would view me and view other women as well, because I feel like these days, and I wanted it to be almost a classic and a modern story at the same time, right? So I wanted it to feel like you didn't really know whether this was in 2017 or if it was in 1965, but these days you really see a lack of that, since there's such a saturation of like the Instagram models and the, sex is literally everywhere for you guys, so to have that feeling of like just being enchanted by a woman, I think is something that's so rare now that I wanted to speak to that. So that's where that came from.
I gotta fully agree with you. Like, I did a episode with AJ Dunk, another show I gotta plug, y'all. And y'all know AJ's been on my show plenty of times. I'm always on his. Sometimes I'm over there just taking over. I can't make this up. We did an episode. We had a conversation where I say social media has made it difficult, not just for me, but for men. But I'm going to talk about me. Where it's not even like, back in the day, you kind of look forward to seeing a woman in her panties. Like that kind of stuff was, and her underclothes in general, it was a sexy thing. It was, I don't want to sound fucked up saying it, but the only thing that comes to my mind, it was almost like a goal. Like, you met a woman, you go through the courtship and all of that, and then, you can't wait to see her in her panties and her bra, and like, that was a thing. And it was,
now it's like, well, you gotta just log in.
Yeah, you don't, like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is scroll. And
I mean, not that that's a bad thing though, because I think, women celebrating their bodies now is,
no, listen, it's too far, because you taking away. Now, what am I looking forward to? And now,
her dazzling personality.
If women, and we can, I don't know if you got more time.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? So yeah, we'll double back to the whole Instagram models and all that shit. Because I'm happy that we're talking about that, so I can get
I love my Instagram models,
on.
man. They cool.
All right, yeah, we're gonna get it. But all right, so back to the book.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so now, a portion of the book that I felt added a little depth to the story, but I don't want to give too much because I want people to go and read it. But it kind of threw me off, so now I'm speaking to you. You can
mention a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't want too much because I want people to. But it's a scene where, or a piece of the book where she encounters a little girl. And I don't want to say how. I don't want to say how or why. right? She encounters a little girl. What I was a little confused was I didn't see a mention of who was the little girl there with. If the parents weren't there, right? So, is that something that I missed? Or
that was intentional.
All right, that was intentional.
So, without giving away too much of the story, essentially part of the adventure that Holly takes, our narrator, the guy that kind of falls for her. Part of the adventure is that she takes him to her ex-lover's house, right? And she meets his daughter. And the thing about, this ex-lover is that he just so happens to have been married. And I wanted to speak to kind of the destruction of a family that comes with privilege and that comes with wealth and that comes with power, because the ex-lover, he's a diplomat, so he has money and he has a lot of the things that, people aspire to have, but that doesn't mean that your family is okay. I don't want to say what this little girl's parents were really doing, you don't have to read the book for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
But it kind of shows that they put their priorities and needs above this child. I think I made her like 7 years old or something like that. So at 7 years old, you're capable of kind of being in the house by yourself, I guess, like survival wise. But any good parent would want somebody to be there with their kid, right? And I'm not saying that these people were bad parents to this little girl.
I'm saying they are.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I'm a parent, and I ain't no way. My sons are 7 and 9, and that's not that's not happening. And then I understand, like for me, 8 years old, 9 years old, I was already. I had a huge family, so I was always. There was 6 brothers and my mom's, so I was always having to watch over my brothers. So I wasn't your average 8, 9-year-old kid. Right?
Exactly. So that's basically, what I wanted to speak to is that this little girl is actually pretty grown. She says like, "Hey, I saw you kissing my daddy." Like, she sees things, she knows things, and I think a lot of times, in families like that, they don't really understand how much their kids grasp. Yeah. And I wanted to kind of make this little girl like, kind of like a little grown up. You know what I mean? And then she was forced to be that way because there was so much dysfunction in her family. So it was almost kind of speaking to, throughout the course of this, 20-something page story, you see the way love can create dysfunction from when you're a kid to when you're an adult to when you're dating to when you're married to when, everything. So, and also she's like a physical embodiment of, Holly's guilt, having to see his like little girl,
Yeah. That was crazy.
Could you imagine? Like, I saw you kissing my dad.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted you to do.
that was crazy for me.
Yeah.
Now, during the book, it seems to be, especially for Holly, an emotional roller coaster. It's like 1 minute she's up and the life of the party, and next minute she's soaking in her sorrows.
It's a roller coaster she created, though.
Okay. But when you're sitting there, you're actually writing that, right? Like, what is the mind frame? Is that you, the actual writer, in kind of a certain mood where you're kind of feeling the way she's feeling, or again, is that just something that you, as you're going through the story, you're just creating and working as you go? Well,
the character Holly, literally by name, is named after the character Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany's, right? So in Breakfast at Tiffany's, it was a novela, basically like a short story, right? Written by Truman Capote in the 50s, and it was made into a movie starring Audrey Hepburn. Is that that iconic picture of her with like the long cigarette, the pearls and everything, right? So I really fell in love with this character because it was put out in, I believe it was the late 50s, early 60s, where that like prim and cautious, like, almost Desperate Housewife kind of, era, the woman was meant to be at home and she was meant to be like meek and whatever. So the character Holly Golightly is the polar opposite of this, right? She was, very self-assured, and essentially she was kind of a gold digger, and that was something really, really scandalous in the 50s and 60s. No, it was unheard of to have a movie that was produced by Paramount about a woman who essentially used guys for money, and she was so assured in what she wanted, but at the same time she was so damaged, and she was so conflicted, in her relationships, in her life, and I just kind of fell in love with that character, and I wanted to create a new embodiment of her. And that's why you see in Last Night that she, the character really goes through that same roller coaster, and it's the roller coaster she creates, because she could live a happy, calm life, away from people's husbands and things like that, But I think that part of what makes her special is that she revels in the mess, and that's what makes her beautiful to the man of the story, right? Who she calls Fred, which is also the protagonist in Breakfast. I literally gave them the same names because Holly was named after, I wanted her to be named after that character, and I wanted her to see her guy really as that man from the movie, 50-something years ago. That's not his real name. You never actually know his real name if you read through the story, but that's how she saw him, as that person. So that's where that came from.
Overall perspective, though.
Yeah.
Romance, suspense, all of that.
Yeah.
I see
all of that.
Yeah, all of that.
All
I
of
see the setting is in Paris.
Yes.
Right? Now, are you, when it comes to the setting and being in Paris and all of that, I know you had mentioned before that when I met you on Eric's show, you had mentioned that you had been out, I think, to Paris or Europe.
I've actually never been to Paris. Yeah.
So
No.
Europe, you was at?
Yeah, I went to Venice. I went to Spain, a bunch of other different places
So
in Europe.
was
I've been
the
to Paris,
European just what's the significance? Was that just random, or that was just based off you being out in Europe before and you just fell in love with that, or what?
Yeah, kind of a little bit of both. I mean, Paris is the stereotypical city of lights and love. So it's that place where, romance happens, and, the character Holly really is in love with the idea of romance. She doesn't really believe that it's a real thing, so she has kind of a cynical view of it, but she is quite in love with the culture of it. And then, even though I had never even really seen Paris, I had seen other parts of Europe, and I felt that overwhelming feeling of just kind of lovey things are in the air, and there has a history to it, and I was almost I went to Europe as a single person, so I was bored, but it was just a very romantic kind of place, and that's where I wanted to set it, because there is so much darkness in that story. If you really look at it, it's almost like a contrast to the idealistic Paris. But in writing the screenplay, I don't know if it still will be there, because it's really expensive to shoot in Paris.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, how much of yourself do you see in the character? Whether it be Holly, or would you say you see more yourself in I forgot the lady's name, the wife, the diplomat's wife?
I think I see myself in every character that I make.
Okay.
I maybe a little egotistic.
No, it ain't that. Because if you read it and you see the different mind frames, if you see the different situations that people are in, I don't think that's egotistical to say. I think also that's why I ask you the questions like that, because I know you can always find yourself, especially when you're the one creating, you can find a portion of yourself. Everybody isn't that one thing.
Yeah, no, and I feel like every creator throws themselves into their work. You're a rapper, you throw your experiences into your work. It may not be textbook exactly what you went through. I may not have been through exactly what Holly went through, thank God. But I think that you see yourself in your creations, and that's why you continue creating. I see myself in the little girl. I see myself even in the diplomat, who you never even meet through the story. But, I think the reason that I wanted to get the wife involved into the story, I'm not going to give too much away, but there is an encounter between the two, and it's not pretty. I wanted to show the two different, like a dichotomy of two different kinds of women, you know, and they're both beautiful and both really special in their own way. You know, the wife is more, you know, about the family. She's very put together. She's very, like, you know, her hair is in place, and, you know, she's got the pearls, and she's very put together among all this mess that's in her family. And then Holly is the complete opposite, but they're both very special kind of women. You know, I really wanted this story to be kind of literally a love note to every woman that didn't feel like they were seen in the best light. You know, there's really no bad guys in this story, you know?
Yeah. I thought it was creative. Like I said, there were certain things that happened. I was like, oh shit, I ain't necessarily see that. I thought that was very cool.
I'm really glad.
Yeah. As far as the creativity that goes into anything that you're doing, what are some of the things that draw inspiration for you?
I think the things that hurt, I think things that you don't want to necessarily face. Writing for me is like vomit, if that makes sense.
No.
You know?
No,
You
that
know?
don't make sense. No.
No, it's almost like you have to purge yourself
Okay.
of, you know, the things that you don't really want to, you know. I had a conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago, you know, and he said writing is almost like, you know, telling stories is almost like putting on a mask. I said, no, it's actually the opposite. You know, I feel like writing stories or delving into anything creative is really just facing your truth, you know, and how you really see the world, because what you create is a manifestation in some way, shape, or form of you, you know. So to me, what was the question again? I was really caught up. I was like saying some smart shit, and then it just listen. I'm a whole lot more eloquent on paper when there's a backspace button and an erase.
Yeah.
And I can go back and read. I got some memory issues, but yeah, you know, making stories is facing your truth. I think that's where I was going to. Is you know, I get a lot of my inspiration in the things that I don't want to think about. You know, and the different levels of pain that you see in yourself, and not just in yourself, but other people, you know. Because I feel like I've known many people like the diplomat, you know, the guy that has everything, but his life is not together at the same time, you know. Like, like I'm always fascinated by what holds y'all guys together, because at least women, you know, we feel like okay to fall apart for the most part. You know, but guys, to get to put up that front, and you have to, like, you know, and in dating it manifests, you know, because the diplomat really felt like he owned these women, you know, and that was his way of, and literally branded them, you know, like, he felt like he owned these women, and that was his way of making sense of the world, is having these two people holding him up, you know, and I've seen many men like that. So it's not just coming from my experiences, but it's coming from just the things that I see around me of the times, you know.
Well,
So it's not just a chick flick.
No, it's not. I'm saying I was into it. I was like, wow, you know, that's why I said it wasn't just a romance. Like, as I read it, I didn't take it as a romance. I actually, for me, I would lean a little more towards kind of a thriller kind of thing. Like I said, there was a few twists and turns I didn't see coming, and I thought made the story more interesting for me. Cool. And I honestly,
I'm like patting myself on the back.
Yeah, well, what I'm telling you right now, we are not talking about it. You're gonna have to go read it.
It doesn't end how you expect it to.
I hated the ending.
You hated it?
I fucking hated the ending. I hated the ending.
I want you to hate it.
I hated the ending.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the ending, though. We're not.
No, I'm not gonna spoil it. But
no.
It's definitely not what you expect.
Yeah. You're gonna have to read it. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a few of y'all who gonna sit there and say, yeah, I hated the way that ended.
You're gonna throw your phone like, God damn it.
Yeah, I hated it. But as you go into, you said, you know, you're trying to turn into a film. There's a big difference between what you read in the book and what ends up being on the screen. And I understand some of it creatively, that's what it has to be.
Yeah.
But in your mind right now, how much different you think it would be? Because I don't think it should be too different. But that's my opinion.
I don't want it to be,
I
but
hope it's not.
yeah, the problem is creating it into a short film. You know, with the resources that I have right now, unless somebody out there wants to fund me. That's my eyelashes. With the resources that I have with me, I'm working. No, I don't want to undersell. I'm working with some great directors. I'm working with some great producers right now that just really, really know their craft. But we are pretty set on making it a short film. So I want this to fit into, 10, 20, at most 30-minute.
You gotta go 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes. Just to give the story, justice.
You can't go less than that though, because I personally don't see how you can go less than that. Now,
everything is there for a reason.
Yeah, and this is just why I feel
down
like
to the damn cat.
Here's what I'm saying, that for me, the way again, this is just my opinion, I'm looking at it like this could be a 45-minute, an hour-long thing, right?
Absolutely.
I think to go less than a half hour, I think you're going to be taking away things that I thought made it interesting. Because you're going to be trying to squeeze certain things in because of the time frame or however you want to put it. So I personally don't want to see you cut it down to less than a half hour, because I feel like, again, you got to read it for you to see is these little things that create the mood, that set how everything is going, and I just feel like you might lose some of that trying to
condense.
Yes. And I don't want to see that part happening, because I feel it'll take away.
Yeah, but that's the the challenge and the fun of it really is creating something new that makes it magical. You know what I mean? And a lot of it, and I'm gonna go ahead and shout it out again. A lot of it is casting, because I feel like Holly especially is such a special character that she needs to command that story.
Yeah.
Really, Holly's the agent that moves that story forward. She's the one dragging him by the arm and saying, "Hey, let's hop the fence." Like she's the one that's really brings the energy to everything, right? And then Fred has a big job on his shoulders too, because he's the lens that we're seeing this through, right? So the actors that we really pick for this have to be good. And that's not something that I'm going to falter on, because I feel like if we have the right chemistry of, the three leads, the wife, Holly, and Fred, I feel like it could, no matter how long it's going to be, it's really going to be something beautiful.
Besides this, what is next?
Besides the screenplay, that's what I'm working on right now, is a screenplay based off this story. I've tried my little hand in producing. I've tried my little hand in, writing short films and stuff like that. I want to see the things that I put on paper be put on the screen. So that you can look forward to that in 2018. I definitely want to make stories that will make a grown-ass man cry, because I feel like people are scared to feel these days, and I want my stories to make people feel. And the best way to do that is, in my opinion, through film. When you can see the look in Holly's eyes when she says certain things, and you could see these, the pain, or you could see how grown this, 6-year-old little girl is, So film is definitely my biggest focus right now. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep writing no matter what, and
Do we have any more books coming down? Is it something you're already working on, or is that just in the background?
I was writing a little bit of a memoir. Maybe
educate me. What's the difference between that and the story?
So a memoir is based on fact, based on your life. Not 100%. Yes, allegedly. Allegedly, yeah. So I've had some crazy experiences in the last couple of years, and I've been writing them down. I have like 80 pages done of it, but I have a real issue with people knowing me that well. So I think I'm gonna save that project for when things are already rolling in the film business, and when people are actually interested in knowing what made me make the moves that I made, and you know, the people that have inspired me along the way. You know, I always say, you know, don't date a writer because you'll end up as material. And it's not even just in dating. I feel like, you know, everything that I see, everything that I experience, everybody around me, I take notes, and you know, at some point, you know, if you're an interesting person or have an interesting situation, it's going to manifest, you know, in one of my stories, even by accident, like, you know. And that was the biggest problem with the memoir. It was like, you know, so if somebody reads this, they're definitely going to know it's that person, you know.
Yeah.
But so I'm not putting out any just regular fiction anytime soon. I really want to focus on you seeing the crazy things that are in my mind, you know, on a screen. But definitely a lot of work coming. Definitely. Maybe I'll try my hand at rapid too. No, that would be terrible.
Yeah, that would be terrible. That would be.
I did poetry. I had like spoken word or whatever.
I can't rap to save my life.
Oh my God.
But I love battle rap. Oh yeah. For y'all who hasn't seen it yet, go check out. I'll put that link in the description too. Yeah, battle rap opinions. I'm always at the events. For y'all who into battle rap, not only can you see my blogs and all of that stuff, but you can also catch me at events. I'm there. Some of y'all who watch it have definitely already seen me, because most of the time when I go, I buy on stage passes. Because I want to hear the bars, I don't want to be in the crowd. Some events you have to be in the crowd, and some dudes are having whole conversations I don't want to hear.
Nah, you want
and
to
I
hear
paid to hear the bars. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all can see me on all kind of battles. But that's another thing I'm trying to work on. I'm thinking of bringing battle rap opinions to the radio station that my man Eric G be on. Again, that's Unfiltered Radio every Wednesday, but I'm thinking of bringing that to the radio station so we can do some live stuff. But all that too will be in 2018 if it happens. I really want it to happen, but I got to line a bunch of things up first.
Make it happen.
Before, yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So all right, so that's part one of this. We're gonna go into part two.
That's gonna be a great conversation.
Yes, but for now, that's it. So we'll let them know where they can follow you and all that.
Right. My Instagram is N as in Natalie, my name, Polanco, Polanco. That's Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Natalie Polanco. If you are an actor and you got some chops, you feel like you can fill these roles, you know, just slide up in my DMs.
I'm about to slide in the DM right now. I'm gonna be Fred. Matter of fact, I might be the politician, man.
Well, he's never seen in the movie.
Listen, we're gonna have to fit that in there. I need a picture.
There you go.
There was a picture
Yeah,
in the
there
book.
was a picture.
Yeah, you
can
can put I can be in the picture, but I can't be in the picture.
There you go. You be the diplomat.
Yeah, there we go.
Ty. Yeah, if you feel like you got some chops, send me a message just with your background, and you know, we'll definitely keep in touch. I want some rock star people for these projects. Whatever we got to do to make it happen, we'll make it happen. But yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram, N.Polanco, Polanco. And then you can download the short story. It's an ebook on Amazon. If you look up www.tinyurl.com/last night short story, you should be able to find it. You can also just look up last night short story, and it's by me, in case you forgot.
And I'm gonna put the link in the description box, so make sure you check that out. Also, as you guys already know, at JLEGEND100, thank you for rocking with me. As I said at the end of every episode, first up, pay attention, because we're gonna have a part two, and I'm gonna release that the week after. And like I always say, man, 3 things you gotta do for the wolf pack. Wolf pack being your family and your immediate circle.
Amen.
Let's provide, protect, and educate.
Ooh.
We'll see you guys. Yeah, we'll see you
That's
guys
some
on the next episode.
Never say whoa.